Hello, welcome to OVUETA. My name is Akatugba. Yes, today on the program, I want to talk to you about humility. I knew about humility, I read about humility, until I met humility personified. My guest today on the program is a unique personality, someone who in 1985 in November joined the West African Examination Council armed with a master's degree in psychology obtained from the University of Lagos. After a short stint at home, he traveled out of Nigeria, precisely to Ghana, to serve West Africa at the West African headquarters of WAEC. After up to 17 years in WAEC and rising to Deputy Registrar in charge of international examination, returned to Nigeria, and exactly October 1st, 2012, assumed duty as head of National Office of West African Examination Council, Nigeria. He has come in there to make lot of changes. My guest today on OVUETA is Mr. Charles Mevogenubo Eguridu, a man from Eku in Delta State, has promised that WAEC will never remain the same while he is there, and WAEC will be a different organization on its exit. Join me on OVUETA as we welcome Charles Eguridu. Mr. Eguridu, welcome to OVUETA.
Thank you. Good evening.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You mentioned that Nigerian teachers are incompetent. And the teachers grumbled and thought that why is WAEC blaming them for the challenges the examination system is experiencing? Why did you come to that conclusion?
Actually, there's a bit of correction I have to make here. I didn't say Nigerian teachers are incompetent. I said some Nigerian teachers are incompetent. And I referred to the incident that happened in Edo State, where a teacher could not even read a simple sentence. But beside that, I also came to that conclusion when I realized that the quality of teaching and learning taking place in the school system is as a result of the poor quality of teachers that we have in some schools, particularly some of the private schools.
Right. But the incident in Edo that you're citing is actually of a public school. And the private school proprietors and owners will cry and say, we invest a lot and we spend good money in recruiting the best hands. And so to say that they are guilty of this, they want to say, Mr. Eguridu, we beg to differ.
WAEC, as an examining board, we have a mandate to ensure that educational standards are maintained. And when we see ourselves like a mirror. A good mirror reflects to you the correct image of yourself when you stand before it. The mirror does not, after reflecting to you your image, does not take on its that additional responsibility of making you look better. It is up to you to sit back, look at yourself, and now go back and adjust. If your dress is not properly placed, you can now go and do some adjustments. So for us, we've carried out a factorial analysis of the educational system in Nigeria, and from the general performance, we find that most of the private schools are ill-equipped.
As a psychologist,
yes,
you also mentioned other factors: parental neglect, lack of time for children monitoring. You mentioned the raise and the crave for material work, the massive distraction, media images, and the media competition for reading. As a psychologist, sometimes do you think there can be a solution to these problems that you have enumerated?
Let me x-ray the problem properly as a psychologist. As a psychologist, I find that we've got it all wrong. If you look at man as an animal, after conception, It takes 9 months of gestation for the baby to be formed, properly formed, and before delivery. Some other lower animals take much lesser period. Now, why did God allow this? It is because man occupies the highest level of creation, and because the complex task of intelligence and living on planet Earth demands a greater time for formation. So the period of gestation varies with that level of complexity. Now, what do we have in our society today? You find that children, underage children, people go to school at the age of 2, and by the time they are 12, they are already falsifying their age in order to get admission to universities. Now, there's a minimum threshold of development that is required for you to attain certain qualifications and certain educational standards. And if you look at the Piagetian theory of development, you'll find that there's what we call the sensory motor stage until it goes on like that. I don't want to quote psychology here. So you look back at the time, the pre-colonial days, for you to go to primary school, you are expected to be at least 6 years old. You put your hand on your head and your other hand can touch your ear. But those basic traits are no more there. Children go to school much earlier than they used to be. Oh yes, we are talking of jet age. The jet age syndrome has caught up with us, and that is why we are cutting corners. So part of the problem is that people, underage children, are given tasks that is much beyond their abilities at that age. That is one. Secondly, I talked about parental neglect. I talked about social distraction. I talked about motivation in society. When children live what they see. When you go to school, you have quite a large number of students with degrees parading the streets unemployed. Now, why should I want to go to school if only to come out from school and I don't have a job to do? But those who play football are recognized, rewarded, celebrated. So why won't I be a footballer? Those who go and dance and sing, perhaps go for beauty pageants, are recognized and given money. They are given tickets to fly about all over the country with cars, and they are recognized as celebrities. Those who are in the media, who perhaps did not go to school, but they are able to go to one or two institutions and they become celebrities, they are able to perform as actors and actresses, are celebrated. So why would anybody not want to be like them? So when there's no incentive for reading and learning, then you don't expect these youngsters to do that. Then beside that, we also find that the influence of technology influence our students. When children get home, they want to watch African Magic, they want to watch Big Brother, want to follow what the housemates are doing instead of reading their books. So these distractions divert the children's attention from reading. So these are factors, in addition to the poor quality of teaching and learning.
With all of this, do you see any hope?
Of course there is hope. I believe that there is hope for this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eguridu says in spite of the challenges bedeviling our society and affecting children, therefore making them to perform poorly in examination, there is still hope. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. We're still on OVUETA, and our guest today is the head of National Office, West African Examination Council, Nigeria. Mr. Charles Mevogenobo Eguridu is my guest. How is WAEC?
WAEC is fine. We are making great strides.
They say that students' failure is because WAEC want to make more money.
Oh, that's quite wrong. We are not a profit-making organization. WAEC was set up to discharge certain responsibilities to society. We are an examining board and we don't make money from exams. In fact, the examinations we conduct are highly subsidized by government. So we are not a profit-making examination, and students don't fail because we want to fail them. WAEC, we are facilitators of the examination process. These people who set the questions are teachers in the school system. The people who mark the candidate scripts are teachers in the school system. So we only facilitate the examining process. So it's not true that we fail students. But talking about WAEC, we are the foremost examining board in Black Africa. And I want to say with every emphasis that we are not afraid of competition. In fact, we welcome competition because it makes us better.
Talking about competition,
Yes.
we will go into that area. But first, let's look at how did you meet WAEC? October 1st, 2012, you came into office. How would you describe WAEC on arrival?
Well, WAEC has been fine all along. What we are doing now, we're only building on the foundations we met by our predecessors. But I want to say, since I took charge of WAEC in Nigeria, we've had a lot of innovation. You will notice that for the first time ever, we have what we call working candidates in our examinations for the November-December 2014 WASC.
What's the meaning of that?
Working candidates. That means candidates can just walk in, register, and write the exam the same day and walk away. Wow. So we've done that. We've brought a lot of innovation into the examination system. We have what we call the candidates verification portal that has employed a lot of technology in detecting examination malpractice. We also been able to bring about the what we call new innovation in the area of biometrics. We are now able to encrypt candidates' biometric features into on quick response codes to be embedded on the certificate, such that it is not possible for a fraud star to use the WAEC certificates to perpetrate the crime. If you falsify or you steal WAEC certificates, let's put it that way, or you write the exam for somebody, then the certificate is as good as useless, because whenever you take that certificate to, it is subjected to some electronic verification, and your biometric features will register, and it will be seen that you are not the one who wrote the exam. So he who writes the exam owns the certificate.
What was this nagging problem that you can say was one challenge that you met and took you time to really deal with on arrival?
One of the challenges I met was the fact that there was a high-level examination malpractice in Nigeria, because when we go for reconciliation meeting or international meetings with other member countries of WAEC, we find that the volume of irregularities arising from the conduct of examinations in Nigeria far surpasses the rest of the countries put together. Well, that is understandable because we present over 70% of the candidature that writes WAEC exams in West Africa. But notwithstanding, the level of examination malpractice was so high, and we thought, what do we do to address this problem? And in order to address this problem, we have introduced these features I mentioned, the candidate verification system. We've introduced customized calculators and mathematical instruments that make sure that no candidate can bring in foreign materials into the examination hall. We've also brought about this biometric thing I talked about that puts candidates' biometric properties on quick response code on the certificate. And all this put together has greatly reduced the level of examination malpractice.
Talking about biometrics, do
Yes.
you check candidates' biometric features before they write the exam?
Okay, let me explain how we go about it. When candidates are registering, we capture their biometric features. We capture their fingerprints. And these fingerprints are uploaded in addition to their facial features like as presented in their photographs. The photographs are embossed on the certificates, but with that, they are able to do some funny things, because they bring the face photographs that makes it difficult for you to determine whether the true owner is the fellow that is presenting the certificate, because over time people change. So what your biometric feature, no two human beings have the same biometric properties when it comes to fingerprints. So we are able to capture the fingerprints, we upload them into our system, and we capture this feature encrypted in a quick response code on the certificate, so that even at the age of, maybe you live up to 80, if you bring the certificate, we'll be able to cross-check whether you are the one that actually registered for the exam.
Okay, we look at competition. Do you think there is a need for another examination body? The question is there really a need for another?
I think there is a need. I'm first of all a Nigerian before being a WAEC official. I think there should be a need for that. How many examining boards do we have in Britain, and what is the population of Great Britain compared to Nigeria? The students, the parents should be given the opportunity to make a choice. Monopoly breeds incompetence and abuse. I welcome the setting up of other examining boards, because in Nigeria here we have NAPTEP, the National Board for Technical Education. We have NECO, Nigeria Examinations Council. We have the Nigerian Teachers Institute, they conduct exams for teachers. We have WAEC. And if we were to have only WAEC examining all the technical subjects without the candidates having a choice, WAEC will become a monopoly. And I would not want to see my country having a situation where WAEC will hold us to ransom. Even though I'm a staff of WAEC, I'm an official of WAEC, I'm first of all a Nigerian. I welcome more examining bodies, because if there are more examining bodies, the candidates will have a choice.